You are listening to the Captain Deplorable 45 podcast, a podcast for deplorables, by deplorables, for the people, by the people, the greatest podcast in the history of the world. Believe me.
All right, Deplorables, welcome back to another episode of the Captain Deplorable 45 podcast, brought to you by CaptainDeplorable45.com. We are here with part two of our interview with Bobby Goodson, the swamp logger from North Carolina. You've seen him on television on the Discovery Channel, and you've heard him in part one of the interview here on the Captain Deplorable 45 podcast. And if you haven't heard part one, you can always go anywhere you get your podcast, search Captain Deplorable 45. You'll find it. And you can listen to part one of the interview with Bobby Goodson, and then come back here and listen to part two of our interview with Bobby Goodson. It's a great story. He told the story, or began to tell the story of his business and how it was impacted by the rising fuel costs and inflation brought on by the Sleepy Joe administration, and all of the hardships that a business owner here in the United States of America has to go through just to stay afloat. It's a fantastic story. So check out part one if you haven't already, and stick around for part two. The entire Captain Deplorable 45 team is here. Vito and Sandra B. How you guys doing? You excited about part two?
Hey, so great to be here. Sandra B here. Thanks for joining in. We're super excited to hear more from Bobby Goodson and his wife, Lori, who he says is the backbone of their company that really helped them be successful.
The glue that helps them stick together. Exactly. Yep, I remember. That was great. And I'll tell you, as a young boy going in the woods using chainsaws and almost getting, nipped with the chainsaw. I mean, that's what a scary story that was.
Absolutely. I liked learning that it wasn't just his business that he started. He's been in the logging industry for, generations in his family. So I just liked learning about that as well.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame what's going on, but it's going on with a lot of, other families and businesses with these fuel costs. So it's a shame, but I'm interested to see what else is going to, hopefully coming out of it.
And quite frankly, part two is going to be great, and this is the captain speaking. You look at it, this is the captain speaking, but you think about it, and everything that's going on, they want to blame on Putin. But you know what's happening? It's Sleepy Joe can't stay on a bicycle, and inflation is a horrible thing, and it's hurting businesses all over the place. And with thoughts and prayers, we hope to send good energy to Bobby Goodson, the swamp logger. We're going to drain the swamp together with Bobby. So we hope you enjoy part two of the interview. It's going to be fantastic, believe me.
Now let's pick back up where we left off in part one with our conversation with Bobby and Lori Goodson. Now, about the show, the Discovery Channel, this has kind of happened. I got this, we do this Captain Deplorable, and all of a sudden I'm going through an Arby's drive-through and crazy things happen, and now here we are. But you were on television. You went from, you're running your logging business. Now you're on TV. How did that wind up playing out for you? Like out in a store or something? I mean, were people bumping into you? Go, oh, you're Bobby Goodson from Swamp Loggers. And did that happen a lot? And how did you handle that?
The first time it happened, I didn't expect it. Didn't know what was really going on. I'm sitting at Chick-fil-A eating a sandwich, and I see this young Marine couple had their kid, I think it was a little girl.
They're there with the cow. Chick-fil-A cow.
The cows was out, and they was out. The little girl was looking at the cow. And as they was walking back by the window, the lady said, "Aren't you that guy from Swamp Loggers?" And I've got crumbs all over me. I'm just eating. And I go, "Well, yes, I am." She says, "Can I get your autograph?" And I've never been asked that before. I said, "You want what?" Yeah. And she says, "Your autograph." So you want my name? It just wasn't clicking with me. So I picked up a paper bag and ripped the corner off of it and wrote my name and says, "Is that what you want?" She says, "Oh yeah, that's great. That's great." And she gets her daughter, and I felt bad about this. And because I'm dirty, got grease all over me. And she asked me if I could take a picture with her daughter. And I said, "Well, sure." And so I get out of the truck, and her daughter's crying when she sees me. This big, fat, ugly,
she wants
greasy.
to go with the cow.
Yeah. And she says, "Get over there. You're going to take a picture with him." So she took a picture with me. So I left Chick-fil-A after that.
Oh my gosh.
That was my first experience, though.
How long into the season was it? Was that after like a first season or a second season?
I don't remember because they would film it and then a few months later it'd be released.
But if you remember, the first episode that came out was just supposed to be a documentary.
Right.
And the ratings were so good, they came back. That's when it started really building.
The first one was actually called Extreme Logging.
Okay.
They had mule logging, they had swamp logging, they had helicopter logging. Mm-hmm. And out of the three, they came back and
that's when the in 2008 when the housing market crashed. And I mean, we had people all over the country writing to us and calling us. I said, Bobby Goodson, if anybody sends us money, I'm going to kill you. I mean, but they were just reaching out because we weren't working. The mills had shut down. We were going through nothing like this, but it was another little patch of trouble. Yeah. And
well, see, what had happened at that time is, and of course, this comes from my upbringing, from my dad. It was close to the mill, so you never quit working. Keep the guys working, keep the flow going. Because you get momentum going, it's easier to keep it going than it is for it to stop and restart it. So we're just in the woods working. We're stacking wood. We get the whole loader, can't put no more wood in the pile, so we'd pull the loader out, move it over here, start stacking wood again. We have wood stacked everywhere. And of course, we're only like 12 miles from the mill, so I'm thinking this is going to be good. We're gonna light that mill up when things open back up, you know. Mm-hmm. Of course, what had happened, and we didn't find this out till probably a year later. This is kind of head shaking. International paper had a mill in Scotland that they would send their raw products to. All right, they would take the wood, chip it, make a fluff with it, and then other people, they would send it to other mills to finish out whatever they're going to make with it. Well, the mill in Scotland had actually filed bankruptcy and hadn't told this mill that, and 75% of our product was going there to Scotland. And so then they had no market for all this wood that we had. Oh, so that was, kind of a head scratcher. I mean, how did they not see that coming, But it turned around. I mean, the mill started back buying wood, and all that wood we had stacked up. I'm thinking we're going to get 150 loads a week. We're just going to knock a home run. And they let us haul 12 loads a day.
You've totally gone off kilter about the show and
a rabbit trail.
Yes.
What was the question again?
So, the question was, what kind of Honda Prelude does Lori drive again? What year was that thing?
When they resonated with people so well, and after that documentary, they came back because the ratings were so high. They came back, and was it how many episodes?
That's what I meant to say.
How many episodes?
We did 6. They got 4, and they actually called me one day from California, and they said,
"Here
Bob,
we go again."
Well, they said, Bobby, we're tired of watching y'all do mechanic. This isn't a mechanic show. This is a logging show. I said, well, you go buy a paper mill, and I'll haul the wood to you. We got nowhere to sell it. So then they left for a few months, and when everything leveled back out, they came back. We're thinking just to get the last 2 episodes to finish up the 6. Well, when they came back, they wanted 10 more, didn't they?
Yeah, each time they came back, they
wanted 10 more.
This is your weekly press conference brought to you by CaptainDeplorable45.com.
Let's go right there to the man with the incredible style. Go ahead.
Mr. President, Roger Stone, I have an important question. If I visit you in Mar-a-Lago or at Bedminster, should I have the meatloaf or the ribeye? And a follow-up question, sir. If I have the ribeye, does it have to be cooked well done?
Well, I have to say, it's a great question. And when you think about it, the meatloaf is fantastic. And it's a long-time family recipe. But, yes, if you get the ribeye, the greatest ribeye in the history of ribeyes, by the way, if you get that, it has to be well done because we do everything well and we get it done. When you think about it, we do a fantastic job at Mar-a-Lago. And so if you get the ribeye, it has to be well done. But the meatloaf is absolutely fantastic, and it's an incredible recipe, believe me. Okay, next question.
Trevor from Cincy U Daily. Mr. President, a lot of people are commenting on Biden falling all over the place. So what, he fell up the stairs 3 times the one time, and then the one time the other time a few weeks ago, trying to get himself up into the big plane. And now I see all these memes being peddled around all over the web of him falling off a bicycle. Now I'm not sure if people are aware, but the geriatric shoes he wears are nubby at the tip and are quite slippery on most surfaces. If anyone's to blame, It's the shoe company.
Well, of course, you're such a disgrace. Trevor, we hear from you every week, and you're a disgrace. And when you think about it, of course, it's not Sleepy Joe's fault. Nothing Sleepy Joe's fault. You're blaming the shoes, and, you're saying it was slippery and all of these different things. He fell off of a bicycle without even moving, and then he used a little girl's hair to smell. It was like smelling salts, and he popped right back up. What a disgrace, though. I'm surprised you didn't blame Vladimir Putin. That's who everybody else was blaming. Vladimir Putin, they say he pushed him off the bike. But he fell off the bike. He can't do a thing, He fell off the bike right into the ground like he's running our great country. And it's people like you that are letting him do it. You're fake news, and you're a disgrace to media. We used to have a fair press, and now we have disgraceful people like you. Speaking of disgraces, let's go to Tiffany.
Tiffany here. I'm in between networks at the moment, so today I'm representing my Facebook page, Tiffany's Corner. You can find me at hashtag Tiffany's Corner of the Universe, where we cover news that matters.
Nobody wants to give you a
Your
job.
supporters have been criticizing the amazing actor Ben Stiller for his visit this week to Ukraine, saying it's inappropriate for him to visit the country during an active war.
That's true.
Everyone knows a successful battle is measured by the number of award-winning actors who take the time to visit for an unforgettable photo op.
Well, look at you, Tiffany. Nobody wants to give you a job for the first time in, quite frankly, a long time. You've been with a different company every single week. Now you're doing Facebook. You're on your own page because nobody wants to give you a job because, quite frankly, as I said it, you're a disgrace, and everybody knows it. Many people are saying it, and I'm hearing this, that you're never going to get another job again. And, if you work for yourself, that's the American dream, but good luck, good luck. But Facebook will never take you down. They're not going to take you down. They'll take me down, but they're never going to take you down, Ben Stiller in Ukraine, that's where all the actors go. That's where they go. They go to Ukraine because who knows what's going on. They're riding segways in the streets of Kiev because nothing is happening there. And so Ben Stiller goes to Ukraine, and that's what you ought to ask about. We have runaway inflation. The gas is going through the roof, higher than Hunter Biden on a Saturday night. And you're talking about Ukraine and Ben Stiller. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, but I say this to you every week. Now everybody knows it, and that's why you don't have a job, and it should stay that way, believe me. Next question.
Mr. President, Sandra B. from the Captain's Blog. This week, Fauci has been on video calling for Americans to resume wearing masks indoors. At the same time, Biden announced the need for more money from Congress to prepare for a second pandemic that he said is coming. As former president, you received national security briefings. Is there anything you can share with the American public that might shed some light into what Biden is suggesting?
Well, I can't for the life of me understand it. He doesn't even dress himself in the mornings, and he wants to talk about another pandemic. You know what, Sleepy Joe, how about you focus on staying on your bicycle, okay? I say it all the time. All he had to do as president was go to the beach, and instead what he did is he ran our beautiful country into the ground. It's a disgusting thing, and quite frankly, it's a disgrace like Tiffany and like Trevor. They're both disgraces, horrible people. But all he had to do was go to the beach, and instead what he did is he ran our country so poorly, and now you're seeing what's happening, and he can't stay on the bike. I have no idea what he's talking about, and neither does he. There's not going to be another pandemic. It's going to be called the midterm variant. You're going to see what happens. But we're smarter now and we're tougher now, and we're not going to let it happen, believe me. Okay, thank you very much.
This concludes your weekly press conference brought to you by CaptainDeplorable45.com. Be sure to tune in next week.
Wow.
And people love those types of shows. And I'll tell you, I mean, look, there's
I did, yeah.
I love it. I love these. I love all these types of whether it's Deadliest Catch or Gold Rush or any of these shows where we're spending time outside, working in the land, Alaska, the Final Frontier, whatever it is. It's a lot of this stuff is fascinating to me because I would rather live in the woods than in a suburb or a city. I just, especially nowadays.
Yeah.
But, there's a stigma that is attached to everybody who does the work that you do, whether it's the guys on the History Channel doing the crocodiles, or it's the alligators, or it's the guys on the Deadliest Catch, or it's the Gold Rush guys, or it's the swamp bloggers, or it's whatever. There's a stigma that, you know, you're destroying the environment. And I happen to know that there's a lot of people in your field who actually obviously appreciate the environment, because that's where you make your living. So you're not some sort of science denier, you know, anti-America, anti-climate, you know, anti-planet Earth type guy, right? I mean, because I'm sure you've had to deal with that side of things, right? Where the environmentalists come after you and say that you're going to kill the bears or something by hauling the wood out of the trees. I'm sure you've dealt with it. And if you haven't, get ready. But, you know, have you dealt with things like that?
So, listen, let me just say this. Let me jump in, because this is where, when we were approached with filming, that was my mindset was, oh, good. We're going to change the perception of logging. You know, the stigma that, you know, people have of loggers being just dumb people that don't care about the environment. This is our chance. So that was my attitude. I'm excited that, you know, Bobby's just thinking, I'm going to showcase my job. I'm going to show people how hard, you know, we work. So it's like we sort of came together with a perfect storm. I mean,
that's awesome.
We each had our own agenda, and it ended up working very well, because we did have lots of people that would come back and say we had no idea that that's what logging was about. We got invitations to go into schools and, you know, tell the kids, listen, you know, these smartphones that you're using, that screen has a cellulose that it comes from wood. You know, it's not just your pencils or your toilet paper. There's a whole stream of things that people don't know about. Yeah. You know, so we were able to go into schools and other, you know, places like that and show kids that, you know, there's a good way and a right way to log. You know, you can be responsible. It's a renewable resource. We have to breathe too. We want to take care of the, you know, the
we live.
That's right.
Yeah. Why you want to tear up something to make your living?
Of course, now,
right.
And probably kids love him. I don't know what it is, but they gravitate towards him. That probably the biggest fan base we have were kids. Oh, and he can explain it. He would explain it in ways that they would just be so captivated. And I mean, I think that we were very fortunate in being able to use it like that to educate people. And I mean, a lot of good came out of it on that side. And I was really happy about that, because that was what I was seeing, you know, that showed people that we're not trying to kill trees, that we're trying to, you know, there's a lot of regulations that are enforced that we have to abide by to start with. Yeah. It's not like the old days where you just go and scalp it. Yeah. No, I mean, so, you know, and rightfully so. Some regulations are good. You know, we want to do it right. We want to be logging in an environmental friendly way. Right. And there actually is that's possible.
That's actually why shovel logging came about. You know, prior to this type of logging, I mean, back in the old days, people would actually cut the trees and they would get as close to the water as they could get. And they would actually get in the water with the machines and drive down the waterway, because there's no stumps there. And of course, you know what that does to the you know, it muddies the water up, the fish die, and, you know, but that was just the way it was done back then. But when we started shovel logging, we actually take the trees that are growing on the land, we cut them and make a road with them. And then the tractors are up on top of the wood driving down the road. And instead of running willy-nilly all over the swamp, it's we call them corduroys. I mean, it's just roads that the guys will grab the trees and drive down the wood. We pick it up from the back to the front. And once you get it up there, you hadn't tore the ground up. I mean, the biggest thing in a swamp is protecting the root system, because everything is underneath the ground. It's all tied together. And if you don't damage the root system, the swamp, it'll come right back up. And it does. I mean, we've actually cut swamps. And when we get done cutting, you can look back out there and you're still green everywhere, because you hadn't damaged the root system. But the thing that kills me, and I know these people have to be able to see this. I mean, there's the American Logger Council. A lot of these guys has put it in front of them over in California and these places that burn up every year. It's because they're not managing the forest. When you got trees that die and fall down, you know, they want to leave them there. No, you don't want to leave them there. That's fuel for fire. A guy showed me some pictures. It was a dirt road splitting a tract of timber. One side was the state owned it. The other side, an individual owned it. He had it thinned and managed. the other side, the state, they don't let them do anything to it. A fire goes through there. The fire got so hot on the state side, it actually crystallized the soil. I mean, it turned it almost like glass. They had to run tractors over the soil to break it back up so water would even soak in again. And the side that the individual had, you couldn't even tell. It looked like a control burn. It looked like it was meant to be done. It just burned all the grass up under the trees. Everything was still perfect. And it doesn't make sense for them to block off areas saying they're protecting them, but they're not, because when a fire goes through there, nobody benefits from it.
You have to manage the forest.
Yeah, it's just like your yard.
Whether it's with fire or insects or disease, it has to be managed.
I remember when President Trump brought attention to that, and then all the mainstream media just attacked him. He's like, you have to comb or rake the forest, you know.
Yep,
and
he would say that.
Yeah.
Yep, and I think that's a whole other show. The people that were against that, they're called couch loggers. They would call them couch loggers. That they're going to tell you, what to do, and they have no clue of what you should do.
That's not to make fun of anybody, but Bobby's done this, like you said, on his own for 37 years, but basically his whole life. We would get calls all the time telling him how to fix things and what he should be doing, how the road should be, and you're nice and polite.
Couch logging. Look for it. That's crazy. How to do it.
Yeah.
That's awful. But how long? So I just wanted to back up just a little bit. So when you first when the Discovery Channel, how did that happen? Like, again, when they first called, like, how did that happen again? Like,
you want to do this? Want me to do it?
No, just tell me you were featured in the Southern Loggers Time, and they were looking for an extreme logger. Well,
it's really divine intervention. All right.
Right.
They were supposed to do an article in Southern Logging Times, which that's a very highly circulated magazine. Every logger gets them.
Right.
And they were supposed to do it on a certain date. Well, they didn't do it. Something happened. They didn't do it. Well, a month later, they came back and actually done it. And it was just a snafu in the office. They went to the wrong logger. So we did a little interview. And I guess about a month or so later, I get a call from a lady from Catherine with Pilgrim Films, that films for Discovery.
They were looking for an
extreme logger.
Yes, but because the other show on the other network was out at that same time. Yeah. So they're looking for a show to, compete against that on the other network.
So anyway, Catherine made the point. She said that she had called some guy in Louisiana and he had just quit logging. And he told her to call the American Logging Council and see if they could recommend someone. And they called the American Logging Council, and the guy answered the phone, and he happens to flip open the Logging Times magazine, and we was featured in it, swamp logging. He says, call this guy here. Swamp logging is pretty extreme. And the whole thing behind that is, if they'd have done the article when they were supposed to have done the article, I wouldn't have been in it that month because I was in the following month. But it actually worked out, and then they called us, and of course, I'm thinking Catherine's a fruitcake that wants to ruin my business. So I hung up on her. And anyway, she calls back and we talked for about an hour or so, a couple of hours. And I decided to do it simply because I got grandkids and, being a fourth generation logger, I've always heard stories about how my granddad and them done it, but nobody ever took time to take a picture. And I just decided then that, this would be something great for my grandkids. And after that, because I'm sure one day they're going to stop us from doing it.
And that's one of the saddest things about us shutting our business down after 37 years. We have 7 grandchildren. Mm-hmm. And they've all been out to the woods. I hate to get emotional. Not all of them are interested in it, but our youngest, who's way not old enough to be out there yet.
Yeah,
he loves it. Yeah, he's just would watch videos with Bobby for hours and just he's out there, at our shop, and I hate the idea of that. There's so much that he's not going to be able to experience now.
Yeah. And how old is he?
He's 9. He just turned 9.
Wow.
My goodness.
Well,
so 2 more years.
2 more years.
2 more years, Bobby. Get the bow saw. Get the bow saw in his hand.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, let me ask you this though. What if economic conditions improve? We have the 2022 midterms. We've interviewed a friend of ours on this show. I know not to do that, but I'm saying if the passion carries that 9-year-old, into the woods and all that, and economic conditions improve, and we sweep the midterms, and we do all these things, and President Trump comes back in 2024, and the United States is a net exporter in energy again. Is there, some way around the corner that maybe that 9-year-old grandson can carry the transition?
Years old, and one piece of equipment cost over $500,000 and some.
Hey,
Wow.
you don't want to hear this.
I didn't come from a logging family. My dad wore a suit to work and came
She's got more
home every
common
day
sense
at
than that
6
guy.
o'clock. And I had to learn a whole new mentality with budgeting and finance when we started logging. I mean, I thought you didn't get something until you paid for the first thing you got.
Oh no!
Well, more like that logging. I mean, you got a $500,000-600,000 piece of just one piece of equipment. So the thoughts of going into that kind of debt again at our age,
it's like a running joke. No. I can't sleep good at night unless I'm $1 million in the hole.
Oh my gosh!
Well, that's the way our government spends money.
Wow.
So listen, I mean, that's wow.
So it's not looking real promising as far as us picking up again. Now, Justin doesn't. I think Justin thinks that he's not going to miss it. But maybe he'll miss it bad enough that he'll start his own job if things got better again. I don't know.
This is my perfect world because I mean, what we did, I'm convinced what we did was at the right time. I mean, everything has worked out. We've been able to sell the pieces that we owe money on, but there's some pieces that I'm not going to sell. I got one machine. It's actually one machine that could do everything. It's not good. It's like a jack. What's that saying?
Jack of all trades and a master of none.
That's it. Yeah. It ain't good at anything, but it can do a lot.
Yeah. It's not great at anything. It's not great at anything, but it's good at everything.
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so I'm going to keep that piece. And that'll give me something to get out of bed in the day, go do these little jobs and stuff like that. And I'm hoping that the economy does get better. And
I think he's got a hidden agenda that he doesn't really let me know.
She don't want me to go in debt anymore. Someone make Justin go in debt.
If this had to happen, it could not have happened at a better time. We were prepared. We were in a much better position than a lot of people that are having to make the same decision. So I'm very thankful of that. So I think he's not letting me know the full. He's not being completely honest.
Uh-oh.
We've been together.
You can't let your right hand know what your left hand is doing.
And I'm afraid that he's I don't know what he's going. I'm gonna kill him.
Swamp Lady is fascinated by Swamp Lady.
That's a whole other show. We can get that going.
Oh man. That is funny.
Great. Does he drive you by the Honda dealership? Hey, look at that new one. We'll get you a new one over there.
Well, look, and this is.
You got a sidetrack.
All right, we're back with one of our favorite segments of every episode of the Captain Deplorable 45 podcast, and that's when one of your custom requests or clips that we make and produce for you and send out, whether it's going to your liberal sister-in-law or it's a birthday present or we're doing a toast at a wedding. Who knows what we're doing? It's all fun. It's all great. And if you haven't gotten one of those done for you, made for you by CaptainDeplorable45.com, you can do that right on our website. It's super fun for us to do it because we get so much interaction and we get to see so much about each and every one of our followers who interacts with us through our website. So I'm so excited for the custom message of the week. I know Vito and Sandra B are here. They're excited about our custom message of the week. You guys excited, right?
Absolutely. This week we have a message of a genre we haven't covered yet. So we're excited to share this with everyone. It's not just for birthdays. It's not just for,
especially, it could be anything from a wedding to it's just been anything. Be creative.
Exactly.
We love the creativeness and how versatile this whole part of it is. We just love it.
Right.
Yeah, I have a great time with it. I have a great time reading the suggestions and some of the tips. I really start crying, laughing, seeing what people want me to say. And I have a great time with it too. I know you guys have a great time with it. And, in typical fashion, I don't know what we're playing here. I'm always surprised. They surprise me with what we're going to play. So I got a brief hint before, but I don't know what this clip is and I can't wait to hear it. So without further ado, we're going to play this week's clip of the week from CaptainDeplorable45.com. Remember, if you haven't had one of these, listen to this. You're going to want one by the time you're done listening to it. So here it is.
Well, I just wanted to say congratulations and happy anniversary to Ron and Kimmy McKinney. You know, incredible people. I've known them and I've heard about them for a long time. Absolutely incredible patriots. 30 years, and you are from Pennsylvania, but now you live in the wonderful free state of Florida, and it's a wonderful place. Your two beautiful sons, and they're handsome guys, Colton and Logan. Both incredible people. You've done a wonderful job. Ron, the retired captain of fire and rescue. You know, we love our first responders. You're an incredible guy. Kimmy, the retired physical therapist. And, you know, it's incredible when you think about it. The work that you've done to make people feel better and to help our country be great. Ron, I know you love to play golf, and I hope one day you could come down to Mar-a-Lago. And Kimmy, maybe you could come down and spend some time with Melania gardening and looking at all the dragonflies and butterflies over in beautiful Palm Beach. You know, I want to say that you two are incredible patriots, and you've been married for 30 big, beautiful years. And although you may have had a wonderful 30 years, I can assure you that the best is yet to come.
Wow, that's incredible. A 30th anniversary.
Yes.
So just shows you how versatile we can be. We've done messages for Father's Day, for Mother's Day, for Valentine's Day, for birthdays. And birthdays, not you know, mind you, 95 years old. If we remember Lois, remember the wonderful. And then as young as 1 year old, little Hank, we did a message for. Such a fun time. 30th anniversary. Happy 30th anniversary to those two.
Happy
wonderful
30th again. But do you realize this is multiple 30th anniversaries that you have done so far? So it's been a couple.
Yes.
So I don't know, is that a new thing every 30th anniversary?
Right. You know, traditionally you have like your first year anniversary is paper. And,
what's a 30th anniversary?
Well, I think it's a pearl.
Yeah, but now it's turning into
it should be the now Captain Deplorable 45 message.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. So
the 30th birthday gift should be a message from Captain Deplorable.
That's
what it
should be. That's what we're starting now. So that's what it is.
Your
we're
30th anniversary.
Yeah. But who started it? Like who makes the rules of, the first year is this, the second year, all the way to 30 years. Who's the first one to do it? I mean,
I did a little bit of research, and it looks like it was from the Victorian ages, but who knows who decided.
Outdated.
Jeez, yeah.
Outdated. Well,
so the new stuff.
We're in the mega age now. We're in the mega age. 30th anniversary, you get a message from the captain. That's what you have to do going forward. That's the new rule. We play by new rules, and that's what we're going to do. Get your messages, your voicemails, your ringtones. I mean, literally, we do anything. It's unbelievable. Even if you have a business, right?
Yeah.
We'll do an advertisement for your company on CaptainDeplorable45.com, and we love it. It's so much fun.
I think the one, so that's what we'll do. So since we're playing by new rules, like the captain said, so the first year anniversary will be, you got to get a ringtone, right? So we'll start there and then move forward.
And then we'll move forward. I think it's great. And once again, CaptainDeplorable45.com. If you haven't checked out the website yet, what are you doing? Get over there, check out the website. And if you're interested, you got a birthday coming up, you got a gift, you got that liberal family member that you know would set their hair on fire if they hear a message from President Trump. Let's go. We'll make it happen. We'll do it. I love doing it. We love interacting with our followers. We love building the community. We love all of your support. Special thanks to everybody. 100,000 followers. I know we've been saying it over and over and over again, but we love it. We thank you. We thank you so much for all the support. We thank you for listening to every episode of the Captain Deplorable 45 podcast. And if you haven't yet got your custom message, go on over to the website, CaptainDeplorable45.com, and pick one up today. All right, folks, until next time, you never know. Your message might be the custom clip of the week on the next episode of the Captain Deplorable 45 podcast. You never know. So see what happens. Get on a website, order a clip today, and we'll see how it goes. And this is usually my point, too. You know, when we go back to how, you know, with the China virus, it came from China. We talked about China already. But, you know, when you go back to the beginning of COVID and we had the government, and now we see it, you know, kind of transferring into this administration, right? talking about businesses that were and were not essential. And with Lori, you got a little emotional before and talked about the generational aspect of this. And that's what makes these businesses essential, especially these family-owned businesses. Every business is essential.
Yes, sir.
You should never be told, no, the government doesn't deem it necessary for you to work, so you don't work. And unfortunately, they're doing that to you now because of the rising fuel costs, and that's it's a byproduct of this incompetence. Or, as you'd mentioned, maybe this is happening by design and something that is happening on purpose. But every business is essential. Going to church is essential. You can't be told not to go to church or not to worship. That's a constitutional violation. Yeah. You guys have been through so much, and yet you're here to tell your story, and you're not afraid. Where do you find the courage and because there's not a lot of people who would want to continue to put, you said you're getting active now and you know what that's going to come with. Where do you find the courage to do stuff like that?
It's the right thing to do. Sometimes you got to put aside what is best for you, because I could just retire and get out of the limelight or whatever you want to call it, just have a quiet retirement. But I love the industry. I love this country better than I love comfort that we have. And we're going to get backlash, I'm sure, for our stand. But I'm willing to take that stand. I mean, I love this country and I know what it can be. I know what our industry can be. And I get tired of external things messing with our industry.
Look, we're Christians and we have a strong faith. And I mean, everything is being threatened. I mean, freedom of religion, freedom of speech. We're losing all those freedoms and people are just giving them up. They're handing them over thinking that they're doing the right thing. The government's going to look after them. They're not. The government doesn't care
Name one thing that
you.
the government's done and done right. I can't think of anything.
And listen, we're not extremists. No. I mean, I promise we believe in abiding by the law, and there are regulations. We believe in paying our taxes. I mean, but this has gone beyond that. I mean, and I don't listen. I'm more of a positive person than even Bobby. I won't watch the news all day because I'm like, I can't, I don't want to think that it's going to get to that point. I'm not a gloom and doom type person. So I have a hard time sometimes, putting everything into perspective, thinking that can't really happen here. That can't happen in America. And then it does.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And sometimes folks just need a little nudge or, just, I guess, when they're so sidetracked with everything else that's going on, sometimes it takes someone like yourself that's personally going through it to point it out, because throughout this conversation, you said a couple of things that stuck out to me. And if somebody was smart enough to pay attention and listen, I remember you said during this conversation, you said in 2008, was that, you said if that's when you were having trouble the first time, and now in 2022, you're having troubles. And what can we all put in there that is similar to those two things? I mean, if anybody thinks about it, the guy just had he was a vice president then,
Yeah,
that's right. That's exactly right.
Look at the difference there. And it's just amazing that, a lot of people aren't willing to look that far into something and say, you know what, there's something going on here. We need to make a change.
Well, it's just like I just said too. I mean, really, we live in the greatest country in the world. I mean, and we don't think that can happen here. But look back at the last 2 years at things that we never, ever, I would have never in a million years thought that I couldn't get on a plane and go where I wanted.
Or
I had to be vaccinated. I mean, it's just crazy when you think of the things.
Well, listen, our forefathers gave us the Second Amendment to bear arms, not from foreign invaders, from the government.
That's true.
That's what it's there for. And that's something that we got to hold on to. You hope it don't ever come to that. But every communist country I've ever heard, they always said, if they get your guns, then they're gonna do whatever they want.
And that's Venezuela.
We can't let that happen. It cannot happen here.
Again, you won't do a search and find where we're involved in some, extremist party or we're not crazy. We're just normal Americans that want to keep our basic.
I think about 85% of the people think like we think.
Oh, I believe that. And I unfortunately, Lori, normal is the new crazy. You know, if you believe, you know, that's the problem. Normal is the new crazy, and crazy is the new normal. They've changed places. I mean, like we spoke about earlier, in California, a bumblebee is a fish. That is the new normal. And normal, by saying no, a bumblebee is an insect, is the new crazy. And that's unfortunately the times that we live in.
With everything around us.
Have you Googled the definition of gender?
Oh, don't even get me started, because I went in, and we're going to be talking in a week or two to a UFC fighter who has his thoughts on the matter as well. Yeah. But we have I mean, I watched Matt Walsh's documentary, What is a Woman, from the Daily Wire, and they can't answer the question. And that's
scary.
I mean, it's going on in my state, in New York City. They have something called Drag Queen Story Hour, and it's disgusting. You know, but that's a debate for another. That's a heavy thing, and I'm going to get the YMCA. We're going to have to get out of here for that. Well, we talk about that issue, because I don't want to talk about that. That's a terrible thing.
I had a question, Bobby. I know it's kind of a stereotype, but I know you're a logger. But do you go by a lumberjack at all?
Those guys were loggers. If you notice now, the trees are smaller, but the loggers are bigger. Everything's mechanized now. We don't even have a chainsaw. Well, I do have a chainsaw, but we don't even carry it to the woods anymore. It's amazing. I know everything is done mechanically now.
No, you've never thought of yourself as a lumberjack.
No, I'm not a lumberjack. No.
So there is a difference.
Because I know that the captain talked about how the snowman can't be a man anymore. He's a snow person.
That's the problem. You know, what happened was, you look at it, the snowman, when you watch it, Frosty the Snowman, you're going to find out that Frosty is now transitioning into something else, and it's a horrible thing. Frosty the Snowman, leave the snowman alone. But that's what's going to happen. It's too gender specific. You have to say.
So is it like a lumber?
No, a lumber person, okay? And you have to say a snow person. It's a horrible thing.
and then
we're there.
And Sandra's got another hard-hitting question. Another hard hitter here.
I have a hard-hitting
I think I know what it is.
Yeah.
So I know we were talking about fuel for the trucks and everything, and how the fuel costs are going up and up. But as a lumber person, you have to fuel yourself, and a lot of people want to know, is it pancakes or flapjacks?
You know, the old stereotype with the lumberjacks. That's right. They used to eat pancakes.
And we're flannel.
Waffles.
That's the swampers.
So you're not a traditionalist. I love it.
That's awesome.
And one more very important question. Silently in your head, when a tree goes down, do you say timber?
Or do you say it out loud?
Listen, listen. If he's in the cave,
what do you say
then? What it sounds like anymore.
Well, it's hard to hear it when you got the MP3 player and the air conditioner fan wide open.
Oh my gosh!
Wait a second. I have the most important question I think ever. You may be able to answer this. If a tree falls in the forest and nobody is around to hear it, does it in fact make a sound?
It does, but nobody's ever here, so you don't really know.
Right. So it's like if a tree falls at a Biden rally, does it make a sound? Because there's nobody there. So
that's right.
The same concept.
My gosh. But Bobby, thank you so much for your time. I can't express how much we thank you folks for, standing up for everyday, folks like ourselves, because there's other businesses out there that are being directly affected by exactly this. And I think we need to really pay attention. And when I spoke about paying attention to the things that are going on in this world, where just the other day, I went to Costco. I'm not sure if you guys go to a Costco or a Sam's Club, but I went to go get eggs. Something as basic as eggs. Do you realize there's a sign there saying that I can only buy 2 cartons of it? 2. It says limited 2 per person. So, I mean, where do you see that? I mean, think, people need just to think, when you start seeing signs like that, how long until you can't buy it or it's not going to be there.
That's what I meant when I said, I don't think that most people really understand what's going to happen and just the simple basics of stuff. When these family businesses, and you're right, it's not just logging. We've heard from all kinds of businesses, farmers, just family businesses that are shutting down. And when people can't get their basics, it's going to resonate just a little bit more. Right now, they're not thinking. They're just working for somebody. They're not seeing the big picture. And that's scary.
Listen, ask anybody that's come from a communist country what the difference is in where they come from in this country
and what's happening now.
Because how many times have you seen pictures they've got nothing in the stores. We've never seen that, and we're starting to get a taste of it. But it's only going to get worse if everybody don't pull together and stop it. I mean, we're in control. The government is to serve us. We don't serve the government.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
And we're concerned, and we're praying for these other businesses, other loggers. We want them to succeed.
Thank you. And that's where I say thank you to you folks for using your platform, and thank you for helping educate folks about what to do and what to say. Maybe we just need to, shake the trees a little bit and get people to say something.
That's right. And we thank you, Bobby and Lori Goodson, and your story is very important for so many to hear, whether it's businesses being shut out by rising fuel costs and inflation and interest rates, or it's businesses being shut out by the government telling them they're no longer essential. It's wrong. It's heartbreaking. But we hopefully, and I know we will rebound from it. And we're a strong country. We've come back from pretty bad spots before, and it's because of the hope and the inspiration that you and your wife and folks who have been in your position, who are very outspoken. It's that inspiration, it's that message that's going to will the rest of us through. And we look at our problems and go, you know what, Bobby Goodson had it worse, and Bobby Goodson's still going, and he's still active, and he's going to still fight, whether he's in the forest or not, whether he's in the woods or not, to make America great again. And from our perspective, we thank you for joining us on our show. We want to make America laugh again and make sure that everybody has the ability to just kind of kick back and, maybe listen to a story like yours, but also at the same time appreciate what really makes this country great and how we can keep it great again. So Bobby and Lori Goodson, thank you so much for joining us today on the Captain Deplorable 45 podcast.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for having us.
Thank you so much.
You.
It is now time for everyone's favorite part of the show, Who Said It? Who Said It? We are going to play 3 sound clips. Listen close and let us know who you think said it. Was it Captain Deplorable or 45 himself? Before we get started, let's find out who's the winner from last week's game. Vito and Sandra, take it from here.
Thanks, Johnny.
Thanks, Johnny Two Shoes from the 50s.
Yeah, our host for our episode of Who Said It.
Coming back from the future, or from the past, rather.
Blast from the past.
Well, welcome to another edition of Who Said It. I'm excited to find out who won and what they won.
Yes, I'm so excited. We had a lot of people participate last week.
But how many people won?
Well,
not one, but how many people guessed correctly?
8 people guessed the clips correctly.
Well, I'm going to spin these wheels because I cannot wait to find out who won out of the 8 people.
Oh my gosh,
these
I
odds
know.
are tremendous.
They are amazing. Like the best odds ever.
Best way to win some free swag from our store. So.
And Becky from Louisiana is our winner.
Congratulations, Becky.
Congratulations.
Let's find out what she won now.
Right, so we put a lot of items from our swag at CaptainDeplorable45.com onto the wheels and spin it around to see what the prize is.
Nice random selection.
And she won an instant download.
Congratulations for that. And we will be in touch. And for the folks that are tuning in for the first time, how do they enter to participate in on the fun?
Right. So after this, we're going to play 3 clips and just listen closely and guess who it was, if it was Captain Deplorable 45 or President Trump. And head on over to CaptainDeplorable45.com. Right on the homepage, you're going to see the suggestion box and just type in your guesses.
It's really that simple.
1, 2, 3, hit submit, and then you're entered.
It's really simple.
Good luck, everybody.
Good
Listen
luck.
closely, and thanks for playing.
Yeah, thanks for playing.
Get ready for clip number 1.
I love the competition.
Your guess is as good as mine. Clip number 2.
Made in the USA.
I hope you're paying attention. We're about to play clip number 3.
I called the fake news the enemy of the people.
Looks like you have your work cut out for you. Now that you've heard the clips, visit CaptainDeplorable45.com and submit your answers in the suggestion box on the homepage. We will randomly select a winner from those who guess all 3 clips correctly. Terms and conditions apply. Void where prohibited or restricted by law.
And so there you have it, the full and complete story of Bobby Goodson, the swamp logger. And you've seen him on television, the Discovery Channel. He told his complete story here, and, maybe not the most lighthearted story, but he's a nice man, and his wife is incredible. And we got the full story, just how hard it is to run a business here in the United States. This is happening all over the place, and we were so happy to have both Bobby and his wife. Wasn't that nice?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the hard-hitting questions that I was really happy he got to answer for us was that logging is nothing like a lumberjack. So I was happy to learn that.
That's it. That's the hard stuff.
The hard questions, you know?
Yeah, I'm happy he was able to at least, come out, tell the guys, get out of the woods. Let's vote in who, do your part.
Use your voice.
Use your voice, exactly.
Absolutely.
But I'll tell you, next week, it's going to be really exciting. The captain's going to be on a big interview.
Yeah, the captain has a busy schedule next week.
Yeah, what is that? Crash with Q90?
Yep, with Q90 FM in Wisconsin. He's going to be there on Tuesday morning.
Yeah, make sure you guys tune into that. It's going to be pretty exciting.
That's right. The great state of Wisconsin. I did very well there. I did very well there the first time. And then, quite frankly, I did very well there the second time. And I can't wait to be with Crash. They're incredible people. And their show got my complete and total endorsement, okay? Complete and total endorsement. And I don't endorse losers, ladies and gentlemen. I only endorse winners because they win like nobody's ever won before. And I just have to say, next week, we have a fantastic guest. It's a longtime friend. I call him an associate. A longtime associate of mine, the one and only Roger Stone. He's joining us next week, Roger Stone, and it's going to be incredible. I can't wait. So come back next week when you hear it, our interview with the one and only Roger Stone. Known him for a long time. Handsome guy, and he's got a way with style. Isn't that right? He's got a way with style.
Yeah, he does. But what about those dance moves? I want to see the captain.
The captain and Roger Stone having a dance-off.
The dance-off.
That would be amazing. It's going to be huge.
Yeah. It's going to be huge. So remember to tune in next week. It's going to be incredible. Thank you so much to everybody who has listened so far. Thank you for liking and subscribing. If you haven't done that, you can find us anywhere you get your podcast. Remember to like, subscribe, and share the show with everybody that you know. We're here to make America laugh again. It's our mission. It's our goal. And so far, based off of everybody's feedback and all of the wonderful comments that we've seen, it looks like we're making that impact. So thank you so much for listening to the Captain Deplorable 45 podcast. Remember, sometimes these social media platforms, except for Truth Social, sometimes they're not so friendly. So if you ever need to find us, you go right over to the website, CaptainDeplorable45.com, or at Captain Deplorable 45 at Truth Social, on Truth Social. It's the best place to find us. It's the best way to keep in touch. We're here to make America laugh again. I can't wait for next week with Roger Stone. Be there. It's going to be incredible. Thanks again for the love, the support, for liking, and for subscribing to the podcast. Remember to share it with your friends. And until next week, keep laughing, America, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Captain Deplorable 45 podcast, a podcast for deplorables, by deplorables, for the people, by the people. The greatest podcast in the history of the world. Believe me.